Yeah, you got to excuse, I'm sweating like crazy. It's really humid. There's mozzies everywhere, so I'm going to keep checking my legs. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the real dark side of Thailand. That's from day to day. Anyway, I've decided to film out here anyway, just to show you humid life, I suppose. The BBC recently have come out with a 3-part series called Thailand, the Dark Side of Paradise. And people have criticised this series quite a lot. A lot of expats and Thai people. And I thought it's time that I give my review. So I've only watched the first episode and the third one. I haven't watched the second one because that's not on YouTube yet. And I don't want to get a VPN just to watch it. So anyway, basically she goes to Thailand, this reporter, I forget her name, from the BBC, and she films the dark side of Thailand. And people, I mean, I watched it, and in the first episode, she goes to like the red light district, and the police tell her that she can't like film the women or establishments. She said that she got a permit to film in the area, and basically prostitution is illegal in Thailand, but she was surprised because the police wanted her to get rid of the footage, and she said it was more like they're defending this illegal activity, and you know, basically that really. And the police after have like said, well, because she made out that like they might be arrested for it even though she had a permit to film there, but the police said we were never going to arrest you, we just wanted to make sure, look through the films and make sure that the film you have is appropriate. Young mosquito, the dark side of Thailand, mosquitoes. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so basically they were saying that they weren't going to get rid of the videos that are appropriate. They just wanted to check that they were appropriate, because I got a bit confused by this too. The law in Thailand is a bit confusing for people that aren't used to it. And basically, you can film on the public streets, but you can't film the establishments when you make them look bad. And being as it's sex work, it's hard to make the establishment look good. So when she got a permit for this street, they probably said you can film the street, but you can't film the establishments. I don't even know how that's possible, because the street is really narrow. It'll be impossible not to film like the sex workers. So I really don't understand what happened there completely. But anyway, she didn't get in trouble. The police said that she didn't get in trouble. They just wanted to check, and she kind of misshowed it, or maybe she misunderstood the situation. I don't know. Anyway, that happened. It's funny because that happened to me recently. I was in an area, and because I'm worried about this kind of law about establishments, I'm not going to go into detail what area, but I went to an Irish pub there, and on the walk back to the SkyTrain, there were sex workers lined up, and they said to me, I was filming on the way back, and they were like, no video, but I wasn't actually filming them for starters. They went in front of the camera, and said, no video. It's like, don't go in front of the video then. But anyway, I actually stuck up for myself. I said, it's a public street. You don't own the street. You know, it's a public street. If you want to get naked on the public street, that's up to you. But I'm allowed to video. But then I was going to upload it. I thought that would be great. A lot of clickbait from that. But I got rid of the video in the end, because I figured, you know, it's not worth the hassle, is it? And I checked myself about the law around this after, because I think a lot of foreigners are confused about it. But you can video, but you have to blur out the faces, blur out the people, and the establishment, because they got a law like about making places look bad, basically. Or, you know, basically, you can't film the establishments and the people there, but you can film the street. And to be honest, that is what I was doing. I think they were a bit over the top. Anyway, so these arguments do happen quite a lot, because a lot of foreigners don't get it, including myself, until literally a few days ago. But Luckily, I haven't broken that rule anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. But yeah, that's what happens around it. And a lot of people that mostly complain about this series is, see what I mean? Look at me now. I'm constantly checking. Spray myself. Dark side of Thailand, that is. Oh my goodness, there's loads of them. This is what day-to-day life is. The real dark side of Thailand, where it's humid and there's mozzies everywhere. Anyway, where was I? Yes, so that was the first episode, and I think at the beginning too, there are some stories from some tourists, and I think the stories they told weren't true. Maybe they heard the wrong story and they passed it on, but they probably shouldn't have probably shouldn't have uploaded that. Probably shouldn't have showed that on the program, because I don't think the stories that were told were true. But other than that, actually, because I watched the third part too, actually a lot of it wasn't untrue. But I think people's problem is that it showed Thailand in a dark light. But I also kind of think, and it really unpopular me saying this, I'm probably going to get some hate in the comments, but it is called the dark side of Thailand. It's not called a balanced view of Thailand. And maybe it's because I'm used to that kind of journalism. I know that the BBC wouldn't do a genuine documentary of Thailand. They're just going to show the bad stuff. That's what they do. They do that in the UK too. And I haven't watched the second episode, but they go to Pattaya. She goes to Pattaya. And so I can imagine it's about the sex trade too. And the third part is mostly about the party, full moon party, and the full moon party, and people drinking too much. Sometimes people's drinks get spiked, and that happens all over the world. And they were saying there's not enough security, and I think that's quite obvious. Like, hundreds of thousands of people go there, and there's not enough security to look after everyone. But I think that's obvious, right? It's a big party, and that's the case in any place, like a big festival. There's never enough security at a big festival, anywhere in the world. And people do drugs sometimes. I don't think that many actually, but yeah, not that many, not compared to like Britain. And people get in trouble, obviously. But I think that should be obvious, right? That should be obvious. You have to try and be cautious. And the second part of that episode, she went to Phuket, and she mostly talked about the road accidents. So Thailand has a very big accident rate on the roads, and people with mopeds don't tend to wear helmets. And she was mostly focused on the tourists that, because they're on holiday, I suppose they let their hair down, and they don't tend to wear helmets all the time. Like, they'll just jump on maybe a moped, or they'll ride it themselves and think that nothing's going to happen to them because they're on holiday. But actually, in Thailand, you're probably more likely to get in an accident in the West. So you should definitely be wearing a helmet. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't go on a moped at all. If I were you, I'd use a car. So if you do that, it's kind of your own fault. I understand people go on holiday, they let their hair down, they drink too much, and they take risks they wouldn't normally do. But yeah, I don't think that makes Thailand look bad. That makes the tourists look bad for being a bit stupid, really. Yeah, that's it, really. So, having said that, the biggest complaint people have is that they didn't show a balanced view of Thailand. They only showed the bad stuff in Thailand, which is actually a small percentage, a very, very small percentage compared to the average person. And one of the biggest complaints people have amongst British expats, as well as Thai people, is that the UK has a lot more crime. You come to interrupt my video.
Oh, go do see. I did not go that.
Oh. Start again now. No, I'm joking. I'll just cut it out. Thank you, Archery. No. She's put a mosquito thing out. Anyway, what was I? So, like a smelly thing. Gives me a headache, but it's better than constantly looking for these. I've been bitten so much, you know. The dark side of Thailand, mosquitoes. Oh, the sun's come out. That's nice. Anyway, where was I? Yes, so the biggest complaint between British expats and Thai people is that Britain itself has far more crime, day-to-day crime. You can go down the street and like high streets or anywhere in Britain, you're always watching over your back. You know, you've got to be careful of your surroundings all the time. So, like, day-to-day crime and stabbings are skyrocketing. And a lot of the reason people come to Thailand that are British are because they want to get away from this kind of, like, soaring crime rate. They want to feel safer. And Thailand, day-to-day living is so much more safer than Britain, than the whole of the UK. And, you know, a lot of the reason people come here is because they don't want to be walking around or going about their business and not feeling safe ever, which it is like in the UK. And a lot of people that come here to get away from that. So why don't you make a documentary in your own country talking about your own problems, which there are plenty of? Why have you come to Thailand and decided to do a documentary about the bad things that happen in Thailand? So yeah, there's that really. And I think the reason that they do it is because genuinely I think the British, because the BBC is like how do I put it, they try and put the British interests at heart. And I think one of the biggest worries to the British establishment, whatever that may be, is that a lot of Brits are leaving the country. It's like a mass exodus of people, and there's been massive protests recently in London. It drew millions of people, and the BBC said about 100,000 people went, but it was in millions. So that's the kind of lies or exaggerations that they tend to tell in the BBC. And the protests, they called it far right, but I don't think it was far right. I think a lot of it was just people worried about losing their culture and their heritage, and worried about being treated like second-class citizens in their own country. And they had a big worry about mass immigration and illegal immigration. And, you know, the BBC tried to cover this up by calling them far right and not really listening to what people had to say. There was a lot of flags flying, and yeah, there's a lot of that going on, and it's a big reason why people are leaving. They're not leaving for no reason. They're just sick of being treated badly by their own government. Their rising costs of living, and also, and you know, and wages aren't going higher, and just day to day, it's a real big struggle. People getting taxed extremely heavily, and it's no kind of life. And that's another reason why people come to Thailand. So I suppose expats and even Thai people are like, why don't you focus on your own country, kind of thing, about the problems you have there, rather than try and put people off going abroad. You should focus on trying to keep your own citizens within the country and building that country. And that's the biggest criticism, really. Having said that, I do think people are being a bit too oversensitive about it, because maybe it's because I'm used to that kind of journalism, but it is called, like I say, the dark side of Thailand. It's not called a balanced view of Thailand. It is, the series has gone out to look at the bad things that happen in the country, and it's kind of the point of the programme. But yeah, I would much rather they do a documentary showing a balanced view, you know, or showing why people are coming over here. That would be good, but I wouldn't expect that to happen just because I know that's what that kind of journalism is like. I've grown up with it. It's pretty normal to me. They want views, and they want to shock, and they want to scare, and that's what they do. That's their tactic. So anyway, there's my feedback on the whole thing, and yeah, I also know culturally, Thailand have a hard time with criticism. They got a saving face culture, so if there is a problem, a lot of the time people in Thailand would try and just pretend it's not there, rather than try and solve it. And to be honest, that is a criticism I have for you. You can hate me in the comments if you like, but yeah, that's probably why it's got a lot more controversy. Yeah, but I want to let you know that if you have watched the documentary and you're scared to come in here, that the problems that happen in Thailand are a very, very small percentage. People who live here day to day don't have them problems, and the biggest problems are tourist hotspots. Like every country, if you go to tourist hotspots, you're going to find the most amount of scams, etc., etc., and the most amount of criminality is in the tourist hotspots, because that's the same in every country. But as an expat, most of us don't live in like red light zones. Most of us don't go there. Like me, I'm married. I don't go there. I avoid them. Well, I went the other day. It's an area that I've never been to before. I thought I'd check it out, the Irish pub. But I normally go to Sukhumvit, and they have red light areas, but you can avoid them easily. They have a lot of pub areas, British pub areas that I go to, and I don't, I know where to go and where not to go because I've been here a while. And yeah, like I say, but day-to-day living, when you don't live in dodgy areas, I'm not saying they're dodgy areas, but you couldn't find a more peaceful, relaxing, safer place to live. Yeah, because most of the crime that happen is organised crime, so it don't really affect day-to-day people if you're not caught up in it all. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. On the last episode, they had a thing where there was a case of someone who they believed to be killed, and they didn't feel like it was investigated enough. And I can understand people in that situation, like their brothers and sisters would be annoyed, especially they would want to talk to a documentary. So I understand how they managed to find people that would criticise it. I would much rather they do a balanced view of Thailand. But at the end of the day, I think don't be so worried about it. I mean, Thai people, and I think most Brits know the BBC, their type of journalism is just to look at the bad side of a country. It's not to show a balanced view of a country. Most people in Britain know that, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. If it makes you look in a bad light, I don't think it does. I think people would watch it and they go, oh, there's a bad side to every country. And BBC, also on that note, you should be concentrating on your own country in the UK and trying to understand why people are desperate to leave the UK, as opposed to trying to scare people out of leaving. That's my criticism for you. So I sat here and basically criticised everyone, so I'm expecting a lot of hate comments soon. But deal with it. If you don't like it, then grow up, basically. Yeah. So that's it. And the bright side of Thailand is, of course, I'm sat here now. The humidity's gone, and I've got something to get rid of the mozzies. And yeah, I'm far from unsafe, aren't I? I mean, look at it. Peace out, guys. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, or don't. If you completely disagree with what I say, then leave a comment too. Let me know how much you hate me. Other than that, peace out.